Hare Krishna. Devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. We'll continue our discussion. Sloka number 37 and 38. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Gita, chapter number 1, text number 37 and 38. Yadapi etena
Prabhu,
pashyanti.
your voice
Hare
is not
Krishna.
very clear, Prabhu. At least for me, little bit loud. Can we be little louder, Prabhu?
Okay, how about now? You can hear me?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
You can hear now?
Yeah, we can hear, but I think a little low. The volume is low. But yes, it's fine, Prabhu.
How about now? Is it better?
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji. Yeah,
Krishna.
it's audible.
It's
Yeah, it's
better? Okay,
yeah, yeah.
thank you. यदपि एतेन पश्यन्ति लोभोपहतचेतसा कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न ज्ञेयम् अस्मभिः पपदस्मन्निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दनः. Translation purport given this divine message from Srila Prabhupada. O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends. Why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends. Why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? Purport: a Kshatriya is not supposed to refuse to battle or gamble when he is so invited by some rival party. Under such an obligation, Arjuna could not refuse to fight. Because he had been challenged by the party of Duryodhana, in this connection, Arjuna considered that the other party might be blind to the effects of such a challenge. Arjuna, however, could see the evil consequences and could not accept the challenge. Obligations is actually binding when the effect is good. But when the effect is otherwise, then no one can bound. Considering all these pros and cons, Arjuna decided not to fight. ओमज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकधामयं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा शिव शरी गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगं लंघयते गिरिं कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम्। हरे कृष्ण। It's a very interesting argument where Arjuna is actually presenting to the Lord. Now, if you actually see the gist of this, Arjuna is telling these personalities are filled with greed. As they are filled with greed, due to that reason, the greed is covering of them. Through that covering, they are not thinking about what's going to happen to this, what's going to happen to all these living entities. The devotees, can you hear me okay? Amma Bhaswati, you can hear me? Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So, to the point, as the jiva is filled with greed, Due to that reason, they are not seeing how the impact is going to be in the future. For example, we see very practically the day and age, there is a quarrel, there is a war happening between different countries since last year. Some countries, Ukraine, different countries. Now another set of countries are fighting. Now, what is the reason and the intent? They have some reasoning, some logic that they did not do this, they did not do this. Due to that reason, we are fighting. And actually, they are killing so many innocent people out of this. So, what is happening? The state, they're not worried like all these people are dying. They're not worried of that. Whatever they want to do, they want to establish that. Whatever they want to do, they want to fulfill that. Doesn't they do not see any consequences which are coming out of this. Their whole purpose has to be satisfied or not. There's so many examples, not just what is happening in current scenario. Likewise, there are various situations, scenarios, circumstances, various things have been kept since time and immemorial. Not just this Bhagavad Gita, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra where it is being spoken, now it has been clearly been explained that on the side of Duryodhana, yes, definitely they're not thinking. And Arjuna is actually presenting a beautiful quality here that why should I kill all these personalities if if they are affected with greed? Do we have to go through that? We are not affected with greed, then why should we do this? Please understand. Actually, it's a it's a very interesting discussion where Arjuna is presenting him because Arjuna is telling, I am not interested in the kingdom if all these people are being killed. Now, a kshatriya, duty of a kshatriya is, then actually kshatriya will not speak like that. Prabhupada is actually explaining in the purport also, where he is clearly telling that if somebody is inviting you to fight, you shouldn't hesitate, because that is the principle of a kshatriya, that is a dharmic norms. It is a principle of dharma. So if, let's say, if a person who has a quality of non-violence, if he's hearing this, if he's telling, if he is kept in this particular situation, then he would immediately agree to the words of Arjuna. Now, why Arjuna is speaking? What is the reason behind it? They don't care about the reason. They don't care about the internal reason. They care about the situation and circumstance. This leads to violence. If this war happens, so we should stop. Now there is, in this world also, there is there is a organization where they all come together. They try to stop unnecessary wars. They want to establish peace. They want to see that everyone are in alliance. Everyone are in a friendly attitude. But do we ever see that those things happening? No. There are world organizations for this. But do we ever see this? Do we ever see they stopping these things? It's difficult. Because even though these things are there, please understand, these personalities, there are a group of communities, there are a group of team. They want to see that there is no war or anything like that in the world. They have norms, they have rules, regulations, they have everything. But if the country is very powerful, country like America, very powerful. The countries are very powerful, then can they? They are not hearing to any of those things. They just do it because they personally feel that this is right. So likewise here, Duryodhana, he has this notion that if this war happens, then he will be victorious and he will be the king. He will rule them. He will rule this nation. So we should understand this. So our situation. And circumstances depends on what we think, what we perceive, what is our motive, what is our understanding. Please, please, because this is very, very important. Arjuna is discussing all of these things. Actually, this is a very valid point also. Yes, to be. But if we see from a Kshatriya perspective, that is not right because that is actually missing the dharma of Kshatriya. But here, Arjuna is not speaking as a Kshatriya, he is speaking as a normal person. He is speaking as a normal person, as a normal householder. He is speaking, but that is not yielding any right result. So, what do we learn through this? It's great. Arjuna has been kept in that state. He's actually speaking out his heart, his notion. It's clearly he has a clear idea why those things are coming, and then he will actually reveal. Or Acharya Srila Prabhupada, they beautifully reveal that Arjuna is in that particular state. Why means these are the reasons. Because Arjuna's understanding is totally different compared to what Duryodhana is speaking. Now, if both the part, if Duryodhana is speaking like that, Krishna would have stopped there. Please understand. There wouldn't have been any war. But Duryodhana is not in that state. Now, if both the sides are with right mentality, then there is no question of a war. Please understand. If both the sides, if either one side has a evil mentality for his own self, for his own aggrandizement, then that is where Lord will stop. Please understand, dear devotees. Even in this material world, anything if a person is doing out of greed, out of lust, out of anger, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsara, out of any of these anarthas, Lord will always check them. Please understand. Lord, in the sense, Lord directly might not do his nature, the material nature. The purpose of this material nature is that. That means there is a spiritual nature, there is a material nature. The spiritual nature is totally different. In spiritual nature, there are not many restrictions. The independence and then the free will is is more compared to independence and the free will in the material nature. Because if the jiva has been kept in the material nature, his natural tendency is to enjoy that. That's why through kama, krodha, lobha, moha, madamatsara, that is what Arjuna is mentioning. They are great. Now, why should we hanker for them? They are great. They have a problem. Why should we? Let us give this property to them. But Arjuna is also not thinking the future purpose, which Krishna is actually very clearly explaining. Srila Prabhupada so mercifully explains that Arjuna is being kept in a particular state. The thought process is not on a, he is actually thinking on a broader level, but he is thinking from one perspective and he's not thinking through the other perspective. What is the other perspective? Let's say the battle won by Duryodhana and then he's leading the kingdom. Is that good for the people of the kingdom? It's not good for the people of the kingdom. That is the whole point why Lord wants to re-establish that. Not only that, another important aspect is he want to put his pure devotees on the throne. Please understand, the pure devotees are on the throne. That means if the people of the dynasty are following a pure soul, then naturally they will also get the qualities of those pure soul. Please understand. Likewise, if we follow Srila Prabhupada, if we follow our spiritual masters, their words, their lines, their instructions as is, then what happens is naturally, without our intervention, those qualities which are there in them will be inculcated in our heart. Today in the morning, I was discussing with a very senior Vaishnava, and then he was telling, I told, we both have common spiritual master, common Shiksha Guru. I was telling him, our instructor in spiritual master is very happy with you. So yesterday I was discussing with him and then I was sharing about you. Then he was very happy. He said, your souls are very rare. He said, you're one among them. Then I told him I was very happy. He told one thing to me. The very senior Vaishnava practicing since 25 years. And he told me one thing. He said, what can we do in this world? We cannot do. It is not like a blanket statement that what we can do. We cannot. He said really. He said really. It's not a blanket statement. I'm telling you. It's really we cannot do. Why? Because yes, we cannot do because no matter what we do, if these persons are not happy, then everything which we have done is in vain. That means whatever I do, they should be happy. If they are not happy, then there's no point of progress in any way. That means logically, person has to understand that he has to do for higher purpose. That is actually lacking in the life of Duryodhana. That is the whole point of this battle. Please understand. The whole point of this battle is Duryodhana is not in that state, whereas Arjuna and Pandavas they are in that state. Through that state, what is happening is unlimited because if they are on the throne, then the kingdom will be so vibrant. They will be so happy and joyful. Now, why they will be happy and joyful? Because they are following the tradition. That is how it works. Right? Parikshit Maharaj, under the rule of Parikshit Maharaj, the entire world they were so happy. They were jubilant. Why were they so happy? Why were they so jubilant? Because Parikshit Maharaj's ruling is purely selfless. Because please understand, if a person is on a selfless plane, he can only give bhakti, not anyone else. Because remember, if you actually see through the life of Shiva Prabhupada, the entire life is on a selfless plane. You don't see any selfish endeavor or selfish motive behind anything. Everything is on a selfless plane. Arjuna is also manifesting that, but Krishna wants to show him full picture. Not just Krishna, Arjuna is telling, I will not fight. But Krishna will actually confirm if you fight. If the Pandavas, if the pure souls will be on the throne, then the entire dynasty will be very, very happy. Because they will practice Krishna consciousness. Because whatever the leader is doing, the kingdom will follow. Now to the sad part. The leaders, they are not in the state. Do we see any country leaders they practice Krishna consciousness? No, they're different. They don't know what Krishna consciousness is. That's why the movement is in a different state. We need to understand ourselves if we take this truth to the heart and then cultivate that consciousness, that mentality, not to find faults with anyone. Because we deal with devotees. When we deal with devotees, we should see what are the good things which they have done and then try to appreciate that. Try to be neutral to them. At least if you cannot appreciate them, be neutral. If you do not see any good qualities, be neutral. You see good qualities, if you think the person will get benefit, if you tell those good qualities, then share those good qualities to them. So that the person will actually understand that yes, people, this process is working. Because he will also get some kind of conviction through that association. But the moment we find some mistake or faults with them, that is where the problem is. The biggest problem is fault finding, familiarity, and that comes through familiarity. Never be familiar with the process, with the devotees, with the sadhakas. Even if a person who came yesterday also is practicing Krishna consciousness, you should be favorable to them. At least if you are favorable like this in this way, our consciousness will be uplifted and then slowly will be favorable to others. We do not have any other business with any of the worldly people. That doesn't mean that we are envious to them. No, we respect them from far distance. We do not deal with them. Whatever Lord has given us, whatever situation He has been kept us, He will just lead our life according to that. Very important. Because when we perceive the truth like this, now I'll tell an example. A child is there, dear Vijay. It's very, simple, kind heart. And he's been mocked at the school or the college. He's been put down. Different things are happening to him, that to the child. But the child upbringing is different. Soft-hearted, practicing, practicing devotee, Krishna conscious. Do you think that the child will react too much to that understanding because he has clarity? The child will not react. He will actually pray in his heart and heart and then move forward. Because his business is not there to stick to that. None of our business is there, dear listeners. Please understand. Our business is nowhere in that. We don't see we don't have to deal with that. There is a situation, circumstance, just come out of that. We have to just come out of that and then lead our normal life. Because every person is unique, every person's vision is unique, every person will take the truth in a different way. That's why even in the process of taking the truth, there are so many varieties. Or what to speak if the person is not in the process. There are varieties there also. That means everyone's happiness is not the same thing. Please understand. Now, mother happiness is in seeing whether child has eaten the food or not. Now, mother's happiness if the child food is digested, if he's passing urine and stool properly, then she is very happy with that. Not everyone will be happy through that, but mother, she'll be happy to that because her happiness is different. Now, others' happiness might be something else. So why am I telling this is Arjuna's happiness is that dear devil. What is Arjuna's happiness? He wants to quit, doesn't want to fight. For example, our happiness will be if a person is kind of envious, we kind of stay away from that. In that, our happiness is there in that. But the pure souls, their state is different. Their consciousness is different. Their mentality is different. The way they think is totally different. Even if a person is envious, their way of dealing with that person is also totally different because they pray to that person and then they say, no, don't pray, you can still come, relax. The process of Krishna consciousness is for all of us. Even if you have impurities, that's good. That's good so that these impurities will be taken away through the process. You don't have to worry. So those things, we have to understand those things daily. Everyone's awareness is totally different. Our awareness is different. The person who's actually leading an outside life, his awareness is different. He doesn't know what is hell, what is heaven. He doesn't know what is Goloka. No idea. Because his awareness is different. His ananda is different. For example, pig, the 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 animals which are in Tamoguna, their eating is totally different to a human being eating. And human being gets happiness in what he is eating. Human being doesn't get happiness in what the animals are eating. That means human being cannot eat what the animals are eating. Likewise, animals cannot eat what the human beings are eating. So their understanding is totally different. Likewise, here Arjuna's understanding is also different. His awareness, his logic, his reasoning is totally different. That is why he's telling, I don't want to fight. He's not interested in that. Now, when we see this, our acharyas are telling this is external. Please understand. That means giving up all those things is also external. Now, what is internal? What is internal? Yasya sabhakte bhagavata kinchana sarva gunastatra samasta suraya. Bhagavata kinchana. That means pure devotional service, practicing pure devotional service, that is the epitome. That is the ultimate. Samasta tasya yasya bhakti bhagavata kinchana. Sarvair gunes tatra samasta suraya. That means all those good qualities will come to whom? Person who's actually not only what Arjuna is actually speaking. Arjuna what is speaking is one line. That means he doesn't want any dynasty. Yes, that is okay. If you actually see, Parikshit Maharaj also doesn't want any dynasty. Prithu Maharaj, he also doesn't want property or any. or any kingdom, then Brahmaji will actually come and tell him, no, 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 you should lead. King Vena, Maharaj Vena, you should lead the kingdom. Then he is telling, no, 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 Father, I cannot do this. Brahmaji says, no, you should do this. This is not detrimental to your process. This is not this is not detrimental to what you are doing. You can still practice your devotional service. That means these personalities who are actually sitting there, they don't want that actually. That's why those personalities will only sit there. Please understand. Here Pandavas, they don't ask for Dana, Sundari, they're not behind that. That is why Krishna consciously will send that soul and then ensure that the soul is in that position. And then through his association, through his understanding, everyone will be benefited. That is, please understand. See here, devotees. Yasyasta bhakti bhagavata kinchana sarvair gunastatra samasta surya. Right? If a person has that quality, that person should sit on the throne. Pundarik Vidyanidhi is actually Vrishabhanu. That means he is the father of Shrimati Radharani. He is her father. At Pundarik Vidyanidhi, at that time, Radharani's father is also king. Now in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Vrishabhanu comes as Pundarik Vidyanidhi. This Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he is a king. If Shivasacharya goes, he comes from understanding what's happening to him. He couldn't accept him right away. Because externally the vision is totally different. That means he's in the midst of so much opulence. Then he says, the other devotee says, no, 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 don't worry. You speak about the glories of Bhagavatam and see how you do. Now the moment he started glorifying Bhagavatam, Pundarik Vidyanidhi consciousness is how a pure devotee reacts, he's reacting like that. Then Shiva Sacharya would understand, oh, he's a great person. Oh, through my understanding, I was trying to put him down, but no, no, he's not a normal person. Because not everyone will know about Pundarik Vidyanidhi because through external things he has so many things. Not everybody would know. Likewise, in devotees, not everybody would know what Arjuna's real consciousness is. Right now, Arjuna is thinking, is actually explaining it from one perspective only, not from the other perspective. No, his understanding is totally different. Likewise, the material realm and spiritual realm. In the material realm, any of these anarthas, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsara, any of these anarthas can actually put a full stop to our consciousness. Now, who is actually putting the full stop to the upliftment of consciousness? These anarthas. These anarthas will tell that's okay, don't worry, relax. Everyone is practicing. You're also practicing. Everyone will go, you'll also go, don't worry, relax. You don't have to be serious. You don't have to practice with full understanding and full awareness. Okay, you chant Hare Krishna and then you move forward. These are all the things the mind will tell. The material realm is showing one thing because the anarthas are stopping us. But on the spiritual realm, as the anarthas, please understand, we had this discussion, but I didn't conclude that. If you actually see what we discussed, if Duryodhana is in the state of what Arjuna is speaking, there is no war actually. Krishna doesn't want any war. Please understand. War is the last solution. But the Duryodhana is not in that state. Duryodhana is in the state to kill all the Pandavas. For example, if this war is stopped, do you think Duryodhana will stop his consciousness? Do you think he will stop stating that Pandavas they're not fighting now, let me just leave them? Do we think that's going to happen? No, that will not happen because his mind will not allow that to be happen because the conditioning is so deep there. Please understand. Just like This is another example where Kamsa will actually tell his sister when the first child was born. That's okay. Eighth child, nah. What is the problem? Eighth child is a problem. This is the first child only, nah. You can have this first child. Sister, I'm so sorry, but I cannot leave you from the jail. You can stay here, you know. And then he goes. Please understand, the mind, the consciousness, even though Nardamuni comes and tells which is the number, which number, because Nardamuni is that kind of a person who wants to see that his actions and activities are actually evolving or leading into a position or a situation where Krishna has to personally come and kill him. Please understand, if a person is very simple, the Lord will come. If a person is utmost pure devotee, the Lord will come. The Lord came for Parikshit Maharaj, the Lord came for Prahlad Maharaj, the Lord also came for Ravana. That means the sinful tendency should be extreme, the devotion should be extreme. Both sides. One is on the material plane, other is on the spiritual plane. Now, why the Lord is actually stopping the acceptance of Duryodhana as a king? Because the society has already degraded. The Lord doesn't want that to continue. Please understand. Now you can say there's so much degradation happening right now. Is the Lord watching? Definitely watching. Definitely. And then He's also providing facilities to practice or come to Him. The Lord says, don't worry, just finish your Krishna consciousness in this very lifetime and then come to me. I will take care of you. You don't have to worry. Now, the why the Lord is stopping here is in the material plane, there are limitations. You see, the Prime Minister can lead for 5 years. Again, if the election comes, if he is victorious, then he will lead for 5 more years. Again, if the election comes, then he will lead for 5 more years. Next time election, if he loses, then he cannot become prime minister. In America, president he can only become twice, not the third time. What is that showing there, though? Limitation. But in the spiritual realm, there is no limitation. Why there are limitations here? That is also another question which you need to think. Why Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that Arjuna, even though he is a Kshatriya, he is actually missing out on the qualities of a Kshatriya. What are the qualities of Kshatriya? To follow Dharma. He is not following the Dharma because adharmic people, when they say that you come and, not just adharmic people, every person, whoever comes and tells you have to fight with me means Kshatriya Dharma is to fight. But here, Arjuna doesn't want to. That is the whole point why Lord is putting a placeholder. Even before itself, he kept a placeholder. Because that means he is not allowing Duryodhana to do further actions and activities or further degrade this place. That means there is a checking. Because that is the whole point why this material realm has limitation. Now, through that limitation, what is happening? Arjuna not accepting. Duryodhana is also not accepting. Not accepting what? I cannot leave this place if there is no war. Either I have to be here, I have to die, or I have to kill somebody else. It's so much fixed up. Why? Because his desire is fulfilled. Na? Please understand. There's another important aspect which we have to discuss, and then we'll move forward. What is that is, dear devotees, if our desires are strong towards one's own upliftment or to do something on our own, those persons, when they come to that state, they extend it more. Please understand. Because that desire will not remain, that desire will not be completed. If that is attained, another desire will come. If that is attained, another desire will come. That means this is a vicious cycle. Just like an insect is being eaten by a grasshopper, and a grasshopper is being eaten by a parrot. or a bird. Or a bird is eaten by a snake. Or snake is eaten by a, by an eagle. Eagle is eaten by a bigger fish. Bigger fish is eaten by another bigger fish. Another bigger fish is eaten by the biggest fish. That means if you actually see everyone, if one thing is manifesting, the other thing is coming. That means one person's life is actually food to the other person. That means this cycle is that. The material plane is that. Because it is limited, na? That means through this limited notion, everything has to be useful. The person will be using the other person or helping the other person or serving the other person or trying to enjoy the other person or trying to cheat him, trying to harm him. It all depends. These are all permutations and combinations. That means based on the situation, circumstances, based on the consciousness, we will evolve in a different way. I was actually thinking about this. And one day, a mother will beat the child. Other day, mother will not beat the child. Even though the child was even more mischievous what he did before for the beatings. Now he is not mischievous. But now he is more mischievous, but the mother is not beating. Why? Different states. Everyone will not be in the same state, na? Different consciousness, different mentality. Just like Arjuna is in a different state now. He says there is no battle. He doesn't want to fight. Even though he has fought so many battles, but now he's hardly not accepted because he's in a different state. That means a person might react. Please don't expect every person will react in the same way all the time. There are mood swings, different grades, different consciousness levels. If he is in the Satoguna, he'll hear. If he is in the Rajoguna, Tamoguna, he'll not hear. But it is dominating. Na? Please understand, among all the situations and circumstances, for Srila Prabhupada also those things are there. Na? For our acharyas also those things are there. Na? That means these things are there. Yes, definitely these things are there. There is no exception out of this. You need to understand. The Lord will put a break to the material plane. He will not put a break on the spiritual plane. That means on the spiritual realm, he will not put a break. That means, let's say we are seeing the break through the spiritual realm also, but it looks like a break, but it is not a break. It looks difficult, but it is not difficult. Please understand. Likewise, if we have any of these anarthas in our heart, material nature will check us. She will check us. Definitely she will check. Hare Krishna. I think I'll stop here today, little early. Anyone would like to add anything, please add, because I'm traveling again today. So if I'm available tomorrow, I'll put a message. After that, as I mentioned, appreciation for parents. Yeah, I will keep you updated. Please understand, please think about this. How and why Arjuna is in this particular state. His thought process is not incorrect. His consciousness is not incorrect. But if you actually see Krishna is accepting more. He's a perfect selfless thoughts only. Krishna is putting him in a different state. He wants him to be in a different state. What he's expecting. It's like a father. A child might think nicely, but the father's expectations are something else. So the child has to come to that state to meet those expectations. Very important. All those things have to be assessed. Great. Thank you. Anyone would like to add anything? Like to share? Hare Krishna. Thank you. Everybody is sharing and stop here. Thank you all very much. If Kash is anything, please excuse me. We'll stop. Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanava Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada. Thank you for giving a wonderful lecture, Prabhuji, and thank you for giving a wonderful bhajan from Silas, Prabhuji, and thank you to everyone joining today so I can complete this seva. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare